Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Marv on Air. Today is Thursday, November 7th, 2024, and on Tuesday, we had an absolutely historic day in this nation's history. That's right, we had our first official ranking in the top 25 in this top 12 college football playoff season. It's going to be exciting. We're going to break that all down in the second half after we get done with our interview with Gabe Schlabaugh. We break down the new college basketball season. That's going to be exciting as well. Do not miss either of those things. Obviously, they'll be coming one right after another. Here is Gabe Schlabaugh.
Look at this guy.
Hammer!
Whoa, close!
Oh my God, I should pop off on your ass about the coat.
We feed families.
Come on, you're telling me.
One set. Iowa State is going to win this game.
Now I'm a bromsexual and go broad.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year. Football is winding down and basketball is getting ready to just go through the hoop, if you will. Joining us now is the graduate assistant for sports information at Wartburg. Say that 5 times fast. I bet you can't. Our resident college basketball expert, Gabe Schlabaugh. Gabe, how are we doing? I know you're joining us a little bit late, so we really appreciate you coming on and kind of acquainting us with what's going on in college basketball. How have you looked at the slate, and what do you make of it so far?
First of all, you nailed the intro, and it's great to be back. You know, we had me on March Madness a couple years ago, but we're back in college basketball. You know, it's kind of different than I guess what we're accustomed to with conference realignment. So it's going to be really exciting to see how some certain teams can adjust well and some other teams that may not adjust too good.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. You mentioned there are teams that are adjusting well to new conferences and stuff. We've seen the impact of that with football, where there is some statistics when teams have to travel across multiple time zones. That's kind of new this year. Do you think there will be a similar impact in basketball, where teams that have to travel 2+ time zones are losing at a higher rate? Or do you think that basketball, there'll be a little more parity?
I think it definitely could be difficult, you know, especially thinking for the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten's really open this year, but it's good. They're really good as schedule makers. Like, if Iowa's ever playing UCLA, they're going to play USC in the same trip. But for that to happen on like a weekday and then just like the turnaround, I could definitely see that being difficult as accustomed to football, where you have a whole week to prepare for one opponent. It's you kind of got to be on your toes with your scouting reports and everything.
Interesting. I didn't think about lining up a few games at once. I almost wonder if like you catch someone at the end of their trip, if they'd be better suited. You know, they're more accustomed to the time zone, perhaps. The whole time zone thing all across sports really is just, it's kind of crazy to think these student athletes are traveling that far and getting the job done still. Are there any conferences in particular? Obviously, you said the Big Ten is pretty wide open. There's like the Southeast Conference stayed pretty southeast. Would you say that there are any other conferences, maybe like the Big East with UConn? They, way out there. They got a ways to go for, really if you go anywhere, that those time zones could play a role?
Yeah, so the Big East is a little different for football, just because a lot of the programs don't have a football program, but they have stayed put, so they'll be the same teams this year. But for the Big 12, it's interesting. Arizona's coming to the Big 12, and they're always a good program. So that's definitely going to be interesting. You had Houston join a couple years ago, and they've been doing really well. But and then I guess for the SEC, you have Texas coming in, and Oklahoma's just okay. But I think definitely, I think Texas definitely could eventually, adjust pretty well. But time will tell, and I just think it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, so do we just want to go by conference and kind of say who the top couple teams are going to be in each conference? Does that work?
Yeah, Gabe, I will fully admit here, I don't know college ball hardly at all. So I'm going to need you to kind of lay it out for me like you're teaching me how to make peanut butter and jelly here. Like you might think, oh, this is obvious. Obviously, Iowa State's the top team in the nation. What are we talking about? What kind of comment is that? But I don't know jack shit. So this is solely, you are the college basketball expert. This is not like, we're sharing the platform here. 100% on you. Let's jump right into it, where Iowa State is located in the Big 12. What do you make of this conference? Obviously, Kansas, huge basketball school. You mentioned Houston. Baylor made some noise a few years ago, and then obviously Iowa State ranking number 5 in the preseason poll. Who should we look out for?
Yeah, so I got a little top 3, and maybe a sleeper you may want to look at. They might not be the best team, but they might surprise some people. But actually, for the Big 12, there's not really a sleeper because I think it's top 4 heavy. First, I have Kansas. They have Hunter Dickinson coming back, and he's a Wooden Award, I guess, kind of on the watch list. And they added a really good South Dakota State and Wisconsin transfer. And you always know Bill Self's teams are gonna be good, and they're gonna be well coached, and that's just kind of what we see in the past couple of years. The second team, I'm sure you guys are gonna love this, but I'm not an Iowa State fan, but I have them number 2.
Okay.
The reason why I have them number 2 is because they absolutely defend. They can, and that's great for Iowa State because they can have that go all year round, and especially in March when you don't have a team that can defend like them, it can be tough. They're also very experienced too. They got most of their guys back,
And we got Baby Dirk,
and
so that helps.
that's true.
Okay, at number 3 then?
And then I got Houston. So
Okay.
Houston's pretty similar to Iowa State, just based on their defense, and they got Kelvin Sampson coaching, very good coach. But you saw how Iowa State they beat Houston pretty good in the Big 12 championship last year. So I give Iowa State the edge. And then I don't have a sleeper, but just keep an eye out for Arizona because they have Caleb Love still, and he ended Coach K's career, if you remember that, in the Final Four.
It was a beautiful,
Notable.
beautiful moment.
It was.
That was one of my fonder college basketball memories. I'm a noted Coach K Duke hater. So when he lost in the Final Four to UNC, it was poetic. It was just poetic.
Really was. To stick in the big conferences, if you will, the Big Ten, Zach Edey lighting it up. Probably going to be Rookie of the Year in Memphis. I mean, weird to see him in baby blue, but what do you make of that Big Ten conference? Do you have a sleeper in this one? Kind of like the sleeper picks.
I do have a sleeper, and I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't know what to think about the Big Ten this year.
Ooh,
I think
interesting.
this definitely might be the most open conference that we will see. But first, I have Purdue, and the reason why I have Purdue, they're obviously got to replace Zach Edey, but I have a stat. Matt Painter, 8 straight years with a 5 seed or better in the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
So I'm just going to go by that, and just with the consistency that he shows, I'm just going to believe in him keeping this program legit.
New segment, stats with Schlabaugh.
What do you make of Matt
That's right.
Painter? We're obviously in preseason here.
Yes.
But what do you make of the Matt Painter can't win in March kind of discourse that happens every single year in college basketball? Like you said, he's been consistently having really good teams over there in Purdue. Normally they're highlighted by some guy who's 7'8" normally. We've seen Zach Edey. They've had dudes before that. What do you think Purdue needs to do differently and Matt Painter needs to do differently if he wants to win in March?
Well, I feel like Purdue, the regular season success, I think a lot of that has to do with Mackey Arena and where they play. That's obviously a huge home court, and they've really proven that. But they lost the national championship last year, so I feel like maybe they just got over the hump. Maybe that kind of changes their mindset, and once they get to March and they're kind of ready to go by the time they get there. But I don't know. I'm pretty they want to prove the doubters wrong and everything, and I feel like they kind of took the first step and really proved something different last year.
Interesting. So obviously Oregon comes into the Big Ten, and football makes a lot of noise. Currently ranked number 1 in the college football committee rankings, like the official ones. Are they going to make any noise in basketball? Are they your dark horse here?
I don't have Oregon, but I have UCLA number 2.
Dude, remember when they were really good that year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was fun.
that was awesome.
Yeah, so they were very underwhelming last year. I know you're probably like, what's happening with UCLA? Normally
course.
pretty good program, but the coach Mike Cronin, as Deion Sanders did. I know you love Deion Sanders, Redbone.
Oh yeah,
He
love
he brought
the guy.
he brought in his Louis. He's got 6 proven transfers coming in. So I'm just gonna believe in the guys he's bringing in.
Interesting.
Otzelberger did a similar thing in Iowa State where he really hits the transfer portal hard and brings in a lot of these like veteran experienced guys who are like willing to play hard defense. So it'll be interesting to see if a similar model works in UCLA.
I draw a similar picture, like paint a similar picture between the transfer portal and when the forward pass was invented in football. If you're not throwing the pass, you're probably going to lose. If you're not using the transfer portal, you're not making the most of all your weapons, let's say, all of your tools you have available to you. Does that round out your best Big Ten teams then? Do we need to move to another conference?
Who else do you have in the Big Ten?
What do we got here? Obviously Purdue, UCLA. What do we got?
Interesting team I got. I have Ohio State.
Really?
Now, a little bit about Ohio State. So they were struggling last year, and midway through their conference play, they fired their coach.
Yep.
They had an interim coach, and they turned into the hottest team in college basketball and almost made the tournament. And they got a guy. Remember the name, Bruce Thornton. That guy can put the ball in the hoop.
Got it. Bruce Thornton. Good to know. What are we talking, D3s? Or are we talking driving? What's the deal here?
He plays point guard, so he can do a little. He can do it all. He can pass the rock a little bit too.
Okay. Interesting.
What do we make of Nebraska this year? I'm always optimistic about them just because I do think Hoiberg is a good college coach, but I don't know if he has quite that top end talent to ever be like a Final Four, Elite Eight coach with Nebraska. But I think he can get us our first win in the NCAA tournament in school history. I think he can make that happen. What do you make of the Cornhuskers' chances this year?
I think definitely kind of how they played down the stretch last year was pretty encouraging. They lost in the first round, but just to get to the tournament, it kind of says a lot for Nebraska. But they don't have everyone's favorite player. If you can help me out,
Keisei Tamanaga.
Yes,
he was
absolutely
best.
Electric.
I'm gonna miss him.
Everybody is.
I want to say he might be in Memphis too now,
dude.
I don't know where he is now, but
Dynamic
I really
duo.
hope he gets just one NBA game where he plays in garbage time, but hoists up 8 threes and makes 7 of them.
Yeah.
If anyone can do it, it's him.
Yeah, him and Golke.
Ooh, where's he at?
I
now?
really-
Do you know, Gabe?
City, right? OKC.
I actually think he was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was with the Thunder's summer league.
That's what I thought.
But I don't know if he's still kicking it. He might be in the G League, but
They got to utilize him somehow.
That's something we'll have to ask Dre. What is the move on Jack Golke for sure? Okay, so that's the Big 10. That's the Big 12. Next up, I want to go SEC. Obviously, big name in football. Everyone knows that football runs through the SEC, rightfully so. Is the case the same in basketball this year?
I think they got some good teams. It was kind of hard for me to narrow it down to 3, but number 1, I have Roll Tide. I got Alabama.
Okay, I don't love it, but all right.
They were a Final Four team last year, and they bring back Mark Sears, and he's coming back averaging 21 points per game last year. He's also a guard, lefty, I believe. So now Alabama, they're kind of like a run and gun team. If you want to, I know you probably don't watch a whole lot of college basketball. If you want to see some entertaining balls and points,
that's where we go.
throw on the Tide. Throw on the Tide.
Okay, who's following up the Tide then? Who's chasing their heels?
I kind of have a little bit of a tie, kind of for the same reasons. I have Auburn, and I have Tennessee, and I think a lot with them has to do with them being loaded with talent and the experience they have that they are bringing back. They got good coaches too, so I think they'll round that out. And a sleeper, They're not really a basketball school, but I have Ole Miss.
Oh, very interesting.
That's weird because
That is
they're a
crazy.
team that we've never really seen ever, I feel like, in college basketball.
Do they have a basketball team?
You could convince me that, like, because of Title IX and all that stuff, Iowa State doesn't have baseball. Ole Miss might not have basketball.
Yeah, 100%.
You definitely could convince
I don't
me
think
of
they
that.
have basketball jerseys. I think they were just pennies out there. They pulled them from the rack. Okay, so that's 3 of the big 4. All right, we're gonna go into the last one here, and then we'll kind of touch on the entire landscape at once. You know, those Big East, who else is there? The American Athletic, the ASUN. I've never even seen half of these names. But before we get that far, we got to go Blue Bloods, the ACC, right? Duke and UNC, obviously headlining that. Miami, big in football this year. California, that edition is going to be interesting. What do you make of that conference?
Yeah, and Stanford going up to the ACC too, make it make sense. It's crazy.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not making the decisions here, Gabe. This is not my call.
Yeah, but I'm kind of chalk the first 2. I got Duke number 1. And the reason why I have Duke is because they have Cooper Flagg. He's a freshman coming in, projected number 1 pick. And what's really encouraging about him is they had the stuff in the summer at Team USA, and the Team USA team, they played like a prospect team, and supposedly Cooper Flagg was turning some heads, and he was really like playing good against, LeBron, Steph Curry, and KD, that whole team. So if he can play against them, I feel like he can adjust pretty well to college basketball. And of course, they have a loaded recruiting class. So.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, Duke's always gonna. I mean, it's basketball at Duke. That's what it is. But I do remember him kind of popping off before. I was actually confused because, like I said, I'm not super versed in basketball. I thought he was like on the team, and then when they didn't roll him out, I was like, wait, what? So he was just balling for fun, and apparently he's gonna go into the college landscape, and I assume do the same. So you got Duke, UNC, any sleepers out of the ACC?
I mentioned Wake Forest, and kind of the reason why I did that is because they're experienced, and their head coach Steve Forbes. Shout out Steve Forbes. He's from Lone Tree, Iowa. It's a little
shout out.
Iowa
down the
connection.
Yeah.
But he's took the program over probably like 4 years ago, and I think he's really building it up to have success this year.
Interesting. Okay.
And I mentioned Louisville as well. They have a new coach. And they don't have Rick Pitino anymore. They've kind of struggled since then. But I have a term for Louisville. They are the first team all transfer portal. So, yeah,
Oh, jeez.
Are they just
you're
all
gonna see a lot
transfers
of guys
or what?
from different. Yeah, they got some dudes though. So
Interesting.
it's going to be interesting to see how that's all going to connect. But
And then what do you have? What do you have in the Big East? Obviously, UConn's out there. They're kind of, I think they're going to win it again this year because I think Dan Hurley is truly a psychopath, and he will truly do anything to win. Like, you see these coaches every once in a while, in college football, you had Nick Saban. In the NFL, you have guys like Belichick. Dan Hurley, to me, kind of seems like the next guy who is, once he starts winning, he's going to be very difficult to stop him from winning just because he's so driven and so determined. Who do you think comes out of the Big East? Does UConn have a chance to win this again? I think Creighton's supposed to be good, even though they lost a little bit of talent. But with McDermott there, I think he's a solid coach. They're always going to be good. What do you make of the Big East?
yeah, so I think it's hard to say anyone else number one. I have UConn. Obviously they lose some guys to the NBA, but they're back-to-back champs. I just feel like with Dan Hurley, he had those ties to the Lakers. Everyone thought he was going to take the job. I feel like since he's turning down the NBA, I think he really wants that three-peat. And I think he really loves the college game, and he's obviously been proven to be very successful. And he's intense, but he gets a lot out of his players. So
he's awesome.
He is.
Every press conference, every clip that comes out of him, it's like this dude is nuts, but in the best way possible.
Yeah, and I will say, if you've been watching the show a while, you know that the first couple episodes was shot with a different background behind me, right? That's because I was potentially in Stores, Connecticut, allegedly, who knows. And I will say that potentially that basketball program is like a city. Like Storrs is the smallest town ever, and because it's like literally just the college, and there's everything else going on, football, their other teams, their campus and everything. And then they have like walls made of laser fire that you're not allowed to get within 100 feet of for anything related to basketball. They are so serious about it out there. And I think this is a perfect transition. We may come back to men's basketball and the top teams in general, but obviously Paige Buckets out there at UConn. What is, I guess I'll just look at it from the top down. What is the biggest thing with women's basketball this year? Obviously you've got, what was the girl out of USC's name? I can't remember her
Juju
name.
Watkins.
Yeah, and then Paige Buckets, obviously with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese gone. Is it going to be fireworks like it was last year?
Yeah, and especially with Paige Beckers, she tore her ACL 2 years ago, and that's kind of when everything really started to take off. When Iowa made it to the Final Four for the first time, and the whole LSU thing. So I think she's coming back for her 5th year. So I feel like she definitely feels it's her time, and she's obviously very good. And losing the Final Four to Iowa last year, close game. I feel like she's going to be ready to go. And obviously they have Gino, one of the best coaches in college basketball, and honestly probably the whole country, to be honest with you.
Just coaching in general, I feel like Gino, he's a force to be reckoned with.
100%.
And then obviously South Carolina with Dawn Staley, she just reloads the roster, and it's but it's definitely exciting. I'll tie it in. I was at the Iowa men's basketball game on Monday.
Okay.
And they've been struggling selling tickets. And then I look on Twitter today, and Iowa women's basketball sold out once again. So that just goes to show that women's basketball is on the rise, and that's great. And they're exciting, and I just think it's great for the sport.
Yeah, shout out to the women. They can definitely hoop. If you're listening now, be sure to tune in next week. I think it's next week, right? We have a practice squad member for the Iowa State women's basketball team that will be joining us. That'll be a very interesting conversation, I am sure. And you mentioned, first game, right? Is that what you went to on Monday? First game?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what does the schedule look like here? Because I feel like a lot of people just tune in March. And it might be me. Who knows? I don't know, allegedly. But what does they're just playing a bunch of crap games now? Because I think Iowa State played Eastern Louisianaville Tech Advanced Beta School. I've never heard of them. It was more names in one title that I've ever seen. How long do they play these games? And then when does the conference play kind of start ramping up and we can get a real peg on these teams?
Yeah, so for college basketball, you'll see some blowouts to start, but I think it's really going to pick up around Thanksgiving. There's a lot of in-season tournaments, obviously like the Maui Invitational, and they're kind of just adding them all over. So that's where you're going to see like your top 25 matchups happen. But Gonzaga played Baylor on Monday, so that was pretty good to see those two teams play. Gonzaga, I will say Gonzaga is legit.
I say we haven't mentioned Gonzaga yet, so I was wondering if maybe it's because the coach's son, who knows? But
that was insane.
That was nuts. Okay, so Gonzaga, they're going to be a force. That's what this is.
Yeah, well, they beat Baylor 101-63, and Baylor's a top 10 team. And it's not like Baylor's. Obviously, I know you love Baylor, Marv, for some reason.
This dude watches the show. Hey, shout out, Gabe. Best team in the nation. We all know that. But either way. Yeah, I did see they were ranked 8.
They are, but they lost 101-63. And I know he was in Spokane, Washington, so, Gonzaga had a heck of a crowd, but getting 40 ball, or what are we doing?
Yeah, that was tough.
That's hard to do.
They made the headlines.
They did. They had a pretty cool dunk, but that was about it. You probably just turn the highlights off after that if you're a Baylor fan. But
yeah, interesting. Okay,
tough scene.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially for that kid. And the presser afterwards, all the guys. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, jeez. that was a tough look for sure. Red, I know has a question for you.
So Joe Lunardi has already put out his bracketology. There's been literally 40 minutes of basketball played for each team so far this year. And the dude already has every single seed figured out, where they're playing, all that stuff. We're not going to make you do an entire bracket here. That'd be a little ridiculous, though I don't doubt you could do it. But if you had to give a Final Four, and we'll even say make it a Final Six, like 2 teams that are going to probably be in the Elite Eight who, could possibly make the Final Four. If you had to pick a Final Four with 6 teams right now, who would those 6 teams in the Final Four be?
Okay, I got you guys.
Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna say I think UConn has to be in there. I just
100%.
if I'm just gonna say no to Dan Hurley, I just don't think he's gonna.
He'll knock on
No,
your door.
he's got that.
He might knock on
maybe-
our door.
He might. I'm gonna put Gonzaga in there. I think they're really good. They're experienced and they play very well together. They get a lot of slack for the conference they're in and they don't play any teams. But kind of back at your point, Marv, about some games, some good games you can be ready to watch. They play Kentucky, they play UConn, and they play UCLA. So I think Mark Few's definitely seeing where his team's going to be at, but you're definitely going to want to keep eyes on Gonzaga.
Okay, so that's 2 of them.
I'm going to say Duke. I just think Cooper Flagg's I think he's just too good.
Feels like a
And
bold
Duke-
call, doesn't it?
Is John Shire? So obviously, for those who don't know, Coach K was at Duke forever.
Yep.
He retires. John Shire takes over. John Shire he's a former Duke player. I believe he was even the assistant coach under Coach K. So he's been a part of the program basically forever. Do you think is John Shire a significant step back, or is he able to just continue the Duke program, everyone pulling together, moving straight ahead, just as Coach K had it going? What do you think here?
I think it's kind of how Alabama football, how I think they're still going to be pretty good just because it's the Alabama brand. I feel like that's kind of similar to Duke for basketball. And obviously they have a ton of support and they constantly bring in recruits, and that hasn't really changed since Coach K has been there. Yeah, and the new coach, he's learned under Coach K, and Coach K is one of the greatest coaches ever. I know you probably don't like to hear that, Redden, but he is.
I admit it. Coach K is probably a maybe top 10 just coach of all time. I'd say he's in there.
Interesting. Okay. So we got UConn, Gonzaga, Duke. I have not heard any Cardinal and Gold yet. I'm getting a little bit upset. You're running out of spots.
I'm going to say Houston.
Oh, that's not good.
I'm going to say
like
Houston just because they're similar to Iowa State, but what's different from them is Houston has been to the Final Four.
That's fair.
Well,
And I just think Iowa State, they may win. I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa State wins the conference and everything. But a lot of times, we saw it in the tournament last year, there's times where they can't score. And if that's happening in March, that's trouble. They play a team like Illinois with Terrence Shannon where he can just run it up. I would think that's really going to be a problem if that's what's going to happen again.
I'll give you the last 2 chances
I'm going to say
before
Houston
I give
as
my
number
rebuttal.
4.
You have 2 more slots before I go off on you, but all right, 5 and 6, the top 6 teams in the Final Four here, Gabe.
I know you guys probably want a sleeper, so I might not. This team might not be in there, but I just want to include them just because a very important reason.
Okay. The
And
Schlabaugh sleeper.
This coach is very controversial. Okay, some people don't like him, but some do, and it's St. John's, Rick Pitino.
Oh, love that.
Really?
Love that.
Yes.
Baby. Okay.
So if you're wanting a ultimate sleeper this early into the season, where you want to keep an eye on for them, do St. John's.
Okay, bold call.
They made if I remember correctly, they made some noise last year at the end of the year that there was a chance that they were going to make the tournament and I believe they were a bubble team last year. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I think they missed out just barely.
Yeah, I feel like they're like first or second teams out or something like that. But from everything I've heard, Pitino's building like a serious program out there, and he's just adding to the depth of talent in the Big East now.
Wow. Dang, okay. So is that a sleeper or is that 5?
That is, I'm gonna include them just because if it hits, I want my credit if that
We're already giving him 6 Final Four
I know
teams.
he doesn't get that many. I'm writing them down, and we're gonna talk to you again in February, March, and we are gonna revisit these teams.
I do remember you guys were saying, "Oh, he likes every team." Last time around. But if you pick a lot of the teams,
That is kind of how college
one of them has to
basketball
hit.
is, though. There's just so many teams in college basketball, and it's not like football where you kind of have your top-end talent always. I feel like with college basketball having the Big East, and the Big East, like, the East Coast loves their college hoops. Like, it's, like, the Big East is the SEC, I would say, of, their respective sports.
Right, and like Conference USA with Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, Liberty, like we got a lot of ballers out there. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so 6th team in the Final Four here, Gabe. You have one final chance.
I don't think I mentioned. First of all, I don't think a Big Ten team's gonna make it. I think you could see like a lot of them in the tournament, but I just don't feel like they're top heavy. So I don't think there's going to be a Big Ten team that'll make it. I don't think I've said an SEC school yet. So I'm gonna say Alabama.
Okay, figured.
Nate Oates, very good coach.
Yeah. So.
And that gunslinging. I mean, sometimes that works.
I thought that was a reference to a player who almost got arrested on gun charges, or maybe even did.
Well,
that was a big deal last year. That was a huge storyline last year.
No, that is true.
What was that guy's name? Brandon Miller?
Brandon Miller. He's in the NBA now. I think he's good, but yeah, that's a crazy scene.
Yeah, all alleged, all whatever. I don't even know, to be honest. But that is a great poll. Completely forgot about that. Okay, so we've got UConn, Gonzaga, Duke, Houston, Bama, and St. John's. The fact that St. John's is on this fucking list and the Cyclones are not is wild. I would just
He's wearing an Iowa hoodie right now.
I know 100% where we're at here. I understand this is the situation that we found ourselves in, but I just would like to say that when Iowa State hoists the Lombardi, that is the basketball trophy, whatever it is, and they're cutting down those nets and they're taking the hoops home, all I'm going to say is I said. That's all I'm going to say, Gabe.
You mentioned the Iowa hoodie. You're not gonna have me come on the program and say Iowa State's gonna make the Final Four, because that's just not happening.
So
you can clip that if you want.
Yep.
You can clip it. You can clip it if you want. If Iowa State makes the tournament, you can use this clip, but I will not be taking Iowa State.
Oh my God, Gabe! If we don't make
not
the
tournament,
I was gonna say this is a hot take.
I don't want that clip. I don't want that clip at all. The Final Four.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, that's fair. That's completely.
We're gonna have to clip both of them.
That's on our scheduling department, which is unfortunately in house. So we have to take the blame on that one. Is the Iowa team gonna stink this year? I mean, we beat you guys down to the earth in football. Obviously, we're gonna destroy the wrestling team, track, cross country.
I don't know about
we'll
wrestling.
probably beat them in baseball, even though we all know what the case is there. It was mentioned earlier. So the basketball team, we're just going to run it up and probably triple the score.
Did Iowa State football play last week? Did they have a game?
Did Iowa State football play in week 2? Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, back to basketball here, Gabe.
You definitely. I hope you talked about that in the episode, and I hope Chase was just going at it, because you've been giving him a lot of slack. But
everyone was a little down this week, Gabe. Everyone kind of lost this week. You see the Saints? Oh, come on.
Yeah. Fire their coach and everything, but
bad luck. Back
to Iowa basketball. I think they're probably a bubble team right now. Peyton Stanford's back. They got Owen Freeman. He's a sophomore coming back, post player. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of question marks. I honestly feel like Stanford might have to average like 20 points per game for them to like really take the next step. But from watching them on Monday, I know it's the first game, but they were kind of flat at times, and they're kind of reliant on their offense. and the defense kind of scares me a little bit. But with the new Big Ten, we'll see how they can match up against these teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, Fran McCaffrey, he always just has Iowa right there. It's kind of weird. Him and Ferentz, they've been, I feel like they have to be the two longest tenured at the same college, like combined. I mean, Ferentz has been there for like 3 decades, and McCaffrey's been there for like 2. So it's like those guys have been there forever, and McCaffrey just always seems to have them playing well.
Well, they play basketball. Let's put it that way. Gabe, I would like you to watch this. See this? What does that say? Iowa B-ball? I'm writing them off. Get them out of here. They're not going anywhere. They're done for the year. They probably won't win another game. Well, that's just a Cyclone enemy. I'm sure they'll win at least 5.
I'll ask you a question. What's more likely? I'll go to Redbone just because he's a Nebraska fan. He's kind of more neutral. What's more likely, Iowa State to make the Final Four or Iowa to make the tournament?
Oh, Iowa to make the tournament. That's not even remotely close.
What about the Elite Eight? Iowa State Elite Eight.
We don't have great luck post Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, I'd 100% say Iowa State. Elite Eight, they just, I don't know. It, like you said, whenever Iowa State, they play, the reason they do so well all year is because, like you said, they play just insane defense, like consistently top in the country. But their offense is normally kind of reliant on like transition points and some turnovers. And if they're just not forcing, if they have to do a lot of, sets out of like a half-court set, they just don't quite seem to do what they need to do. So I don't know. I'd say Iowa State probably makes the Sweet 16 this year, and I think Iowa will probably make the tournament just because the Big Ten isn't very like
deep.
They're deep. There's nobody at the top. Like,
it's kind of like Big 12 football.
Very much like that, where it's like the top end. There isn't a Purdue this year. There isn't, some of those Michigan teams that there were way back when, like 5 years ago. It's just kind of a lot of meh. So I can see Iowa finishing like 4th or 5th in the Big Ten, which I would think would get them in.
Interesting. What do you think, Gabe? You agree with that?
If they're top 5 in the Big Ten, then that would be a pretty successful year. I know Iowa State football's never had a 10-win season, so if Iowa could be top 5 in the Big Ten with like all these teams in there, that'd be pretty impressive in my opinion.
I could see it though. McCaffrey will do it. And they'll go on like this weird stretch like in the middle of February or beginning of February where they just rattle off like 6-7 in a row. They'll play like Nebraska, probably Indiana's supposed to be good, Wisconsin, Northwestern, and they'll just beat those teams, and then it's like, oh, how did Iowa get to 5th in the Big Ten? They're just here. It's how Iowa goes in football too. It's so annoying.
Yeah, if they're anything like football, they'll win one of these basketball games 15-12. Put it that way.
This year we got high-powered offense this year.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is that like 30 points a game?
You have one high-powered player, okay? You got one. And we all know who we're talking about here. It's a guy who doesn't get the ball enough. That's for sure. Anyways.
I'm with you. I'm on board with that.
I need to calm down. Gabe, you got me all riled up. You got me good. I will give you that. But that being said, that is our early season college basketball preview. Gabe, you will be back on whether you like it or not come March, February, somewhere around that line. We'll have you give everyone just another laydown of the land. Be like, hey, these teams, we thought they were going to do real well. They did not. These teams are the ones you got to look out for come the tournament. I'm excited to see where it all comes down. If you like the college basketball talk, come back the next few weeks. We got a huge guest in a couple weeks. I mean, Gabe, you're going to enjoy that one. That one is going to be a lot of fun. Gabe, you are the man. We appreciate the hell out of you. Go Cyclones.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Okay? Keep an eye out for some college basketball this year. And my St. John's prediction, that's the one I really want you guys to keep an eye out for.
It's written down. We will not forget. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabe Schlabaugh. All right, Gabe had a lot to say about college basketball. That's kind of his thing. I mean, he that's like we got football, he's got basketball. I mean, he's a coach. He knows what he's talking about. We'll take his words for granted. We're recording that right after this portion, so I'm sure he had a lot of great things to say. Joining me today from the couch is Mr. Redbone himself, and then obviously we are bringing back the quad box. You guys know the vibes. Chase and Hunter in the new outfit. I forgot Halloween was last week, and I think he did too, but I don't mind it. Hunter, what brought about? What are you doing? What is this?
first off, Marv, that's not Hunter, that's Father Mulberry to you.
Oh, my
Second
apologies.
off, I'm dressed this way because we have a lot of funerals that took place this weekend with
Oh.
the NFL scene and also the college scene. To name a
Hmm.
few, we have the Iowa State Cyclones and the TCU Horned Frogs, and on the other side, we have the Cowboys and the Saints. Together, we have death.
Wow. What about the Jets? They were pretty solid, right? Are they dead?
Well, Jets. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I can't speak because I'm still mourning.
People are out on the Jets right now. They're not quite. The jury is out, I guess. Not people. We're not sure if the Jets are dead or not because they did show some life against the Texans. Speaking of the
And,
NFL, go ahead.
I mean, if they were dead and they were in purgatory, it's not looking good for them.
That's one way to put it for sure. Let's go ahead and dive right into Handicap Hour. We're going to break down all the games coming up this weekend, and we'll do a little bit of recap of the games that happened last week and potentially as well. First up, we got Bengals at Ravens. I think the Ravens are good. I think the Bengals are bad. I'm going to take the Ravens at 6.5-point favorites here. What do you think, Rhett?
Yeah, I'm going Ravens minus 9.5. Deep down in my heart, I really wanted to say that Joe Burrow and Cincinnati was going to get this done and continue their stretch of winning 7 of their next 9. I think this is probably one where they take a loss and then they're going to have to win, I'm not great at math, 7 of their next 8. So I'm taking the Ravens minus 9.5 here.
They can take an L. They have a little bit of wiggle room.
Burrow gave them 2.
He gave them 2.
I think this is probably one of them.
They've got room. Chase, what do you think of this game?
I got a little tighter. I got Ravens 2.5. Same boat. Ravens are just a better team.
Interesting. The books like the Ravens at 6, so I was pretty much right on the nose there. Hunter, your thoughts on the game in general?
Yeah, just give me the Birds and give me the Ravens 4.5.
You want me to give you the bird? Is that what you said?
Yeah, give me the Birds. Bengals eat birds, but not tonight or not tomorrow night. Sorry.
Advanced analytics turned off. Next game on Sunday, we got Giants at Panthers. This one's a London game. I don't know if I have it in me to do a London accent for this game because it is just going to be it's going to be so bad. I'm glad it's early. I don't have to watch it. They've done a good job of putting the really bad games early in the morning, putting them over in London, kind of excommunicating them, if you will. That being said, I mean, the Panthers got the win last week. Giants are bad. I've got them at 1.5, the Panthers, that is. But I don't like really picking either of these teams. What do you think?
Yeah, I said Panthers minus 2.5. I think the Giants are really bad. And deep down in my heart, I don't want to see Bryce Young truly crash and burn because he seems like a child out there, just kind of running around, like just small little guy.
Just having fun.
So I'd like to see him get another win here. So I'm going the Panthers minus 2.5.
Interesting. 2 Panthers. And what do you think, Chase?
I went opposite side here. I have the Giants minus 6.5. I did not know this game was in London, though. It doesn't change it at all for me, really. I think the Panthers are really, really bad. So are the Giants, but Tyrone Tracy. That's all I got to say.
Fair enough. I think
Former Boilermaker.
I think Chase looked at the spread.
And Hawkeye.
And you 100% looked at the spread.
Of course he claims. Yeah, of course you do. Well,
No,
either way, the books have them at
whatever,
6.5.
dude.
The books have the Giants at 6.5. So Chase nailed it. Hunter, your thoughts on 2 people being on the wrong side of this prediction?
Well, down in London is where I was bred. It might sound Irish, but it's all right. If there's one thing I know, London's really close to the Vatican, and I'm awfully close to the Vatican right now, and geographically, I believe the Panthers are the closest to the Vatican. So let's just take the Panthers. I'll go on your side of the ball. We got 3 for the Panthers, and give me them minus 3.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Next up, to start the noon slate, we got the Patriots at the Bears. This one probably won't be tuning into, but it could be good. Drake May and a little bit of Caleb Williams action. I mean, it's saying something if I'm not watching the Patriots. They are just hard to watch this year. O-line has been bad. I think I'm going to factor that into my pick. I'm taking the Bears at 4.5 here.
Yeah, I'm going Patriots minus 3.5. I think that the Bears are a dumpster fire. They're a mess of an organization. The Patriots at least have Drake May, and he's fun. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. Give me the Patriots minus 3.5.
I almost think I'm taking the Bears because I want them to win. Like, I want the Patriots to just have one of the top picks.
That makes sense.
I mean, at this point, we're not going to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Chase, your thoughts?
That's true.
I really wanted to go with Patriots here just because the Bears seem like they're burning. Seems like they're quitting. But I just think the Patriots are even worse. So I went Bears minus 2.5.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Hunter?
Drake May. I will not be drinking May. Give me the Bears minus 4.5.
Okay, the books have the Bears at minus 6.5. So I mean, Caleb Williams, number 1 overall, Drake May, number 3 overall. That's probably, a big part of that. And then as in conjunction with it being in the Bears Stadium, I'm sure that whole I just hate the fucking Patriots right now. All right, we got 49ers at Bucks up next. Bucks looked really good against the Chiefs. Of course, they didn't go for 2 and took it to overtime. I don't know if I hate the call, honestly, but it comes back to bite them in the ass because everybody knows the Chiefs are going to win that coin toss. That being said, I do think the Bucks are a really good team. The 49ers are pretty hurt. C-Mac could be back this week. That'll factor in, but I don't know if his workload will be big enough to really play a big role. I've got the Bucks at 3.5 here.
Yeah, I said Bucks 2.5. I was kind of same line of thinking. Like on paper before the season started, it feels like a game that you would say Niners right away. But the Niners are they're just dead in the water right now. Everyone's injured. CMC is supposedly going to come back, but like you said, we just don't know what his role will be like in the offense. And Baker Mayfield's on the other side of the ball. I love Baker Mayfield. Bucks -2.5.
How could you not? I mean, Baker is
so fun.
He's the people's
Baker's
quarterback. He's really a dude. Chase, your thoughts?
Opposite side of the ball here. 49ers 3.5.
Ayo.
This guy. Well, you are on the right side of the ball if you're with the books there. Currently, it's 49ers -6. Hunter, your thoughts on that?
I like the Buccaneers here. If there's one thing I know about the 49ers, I know that Brock Purdy's probably like a bottom 10 QB, and he's not anywhere in the top 9 of that bottom 10. So, yeah, give me the Buccaneers -7.5.
That was a personal shot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. Next up, we have the Broncos at Chiefs. Divisional game. Looking at the Chiefs' schedule, undefeated so far. There is a pretty solid chance that they win out. As much as I hate to say that, I don't know. It's any given Sunday, right? Like any team could beat any team on any single week. You look at the Panthers last week. I mean, everyone thought, the Saints are just going to run away with this when they're a much better team. Wrong. Panthers better than the Saints apparently last week. So Evidently.
Yeah.
That being said, I am not going to go on that boat this week. I'm going to take the Chiefs at -5.5.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas City -2.5. I think that this is another one of those games where the Broncos probably have a lead in the third quarter, maybe even the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes scores a field goal to tie it or a touchdown to tie it, and then the Broncos have to punt with like 2 minutes left in the game. Mahomes goes down, kicks a field goal, win.
They like to keep it close.
They love it. It's so annoying.
I hate it.
I absolutely hate it.
So annoying.
Chase, your thoughts?
Similar thought. I got the Chiefs 2.5 just because they like to keep games close for some reason. I don't know if they like to spike their blood pressure or what, but Chiefs -2.5.
A little bit of an adrenaline rush. The books have the Chiefs at -8. That might be the biggest spread I've seen from the Chiefs in a while.
Yeah.
Hunter, your thoughts on that?
I mean, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. I think Bo Nix is a good quarterback, but against the Chiefs, Bo Nix, he's going to be blowing dicks is what he's going to be doing. So give me the Chiefs. Let me raise that line up to 9.
Okay, interesting. Next game, we've got the Bills at Colts. This one's a little bit of an entertaining game because everyone thought, put Joe Flacco in. The Colts are going to be just fine. That was an abysmal offensive performance from the Colts. I mean, I think they scored 7 points, and it was on defense. I don't know if they had any offensive drive over 20 yards. It was rough. It really was. That being in consideration here, I'm going to take the Bills at -13.5, and I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, I'm going Bills -19.5 here. I just don't think the Colts are very good. I think the Bills are very good. Josh Allen is having an MVP caliber season, even though it's not being talked about quite as much as Lamar Jackson's season, which does make sense. Lamar also having a very good season. But I'm taking the Bills -19.5 here.
Interesting. Chase, who are you taking?
I got the Bills -6.5. I think Flacco can keep it close. Bad game last week, but we'll see how he does.
Might bounce back. That's what the books think as well. They have the Bills at -4. Hunter, do you think that the Colts can keep it close?
I really don't think they can. I think Flacco's good, but he's not good enough for the Bills' defense, honestly. I know the Bills kind of got a little mid, little this, little that. I think this is a mascot battle, and I will take a Buffalo any day over a baby horse. So give me the Bills -7.
That
fair. Makes sense.
I don't mind that at all. Next up, we have Steelers at Commanders. This one could be a lot of fun. Mike Williams makes the move over to Pittsburgh. Things did not quite work out in New York like I think a lot of people thought they would. He was really good on the Chargers. Didn't quite mesh with Aaron Rodgers after the ACL. Moves on to Pittsburgh. They're kind of looking for a wide receiver right now. I honestly like that pairing quite a bit. I don't think it'll be enough, especially with the quick turnaround to beat the Commanders, though. I've got the Commanders at -4.5. Very fun team.
Yeah, no, they're obviously very fun. They have Jaden Daniels, and he's just awesome to watch. I'm taking the Commanders minus 8.5 here. The Steelers have been obviously looking very, very good now that they have Russell Wilson in, even though they looked all right with Justin Fields in. Interesting switch there midseason, but I just don't think it's quite enough for this high-powered Commanders offense. This is a team that can score 35 almost every game, it feels like, and the Steelers just aren't quite built that way. They're built to kind of muck it up and score maybe 3 touchdowns and a field goal type thing. So I'm going to take the Commanders here, minus 8.5.
I like it. Chase?
Yeah, I'm a huge Commanders fan this year. They just got Lattimore from the Saints. What?
Okay, sure. Just switch up immediately. As soon as
I've been talking about him all year, buddy.
it took 2 weeks before he was like, "Oh, the Saints are ass," and
Chase,
I'm going to take
Hunter,
the
you don't
Commanders.
remember who Chase has been riding all year?
All year.
I don't know.
You're just the worst. Anyway, I got the Commanders minus 1.5. There's like to keep it close. Solid defense. Russell Wilson looks good. He's got a new target, but the Commanders just a better team in my opinion.
Oh my God, get off your knees. Sorry, Marv, I didn't mean to cut you off there if you were going to say something.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying I hate the Commanders with the NFC East. We have to have the Commanders lose for any other team to do anything. And I think this should be a primetime game. This is like my pick for Sunday Night Football, but it's sadly not. I'm not Roger Goodell, but still, give me the Steelers, and I think that they're going to deliver the Commanders a loss here by 2.5. It's going to be really close.
Interesting.
I like that.
Yeah, I
love it.
I love this game
Let's
just
go
in
Steelers.
general. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. The books have the Commanders at minus 2.5, so they think it will be close. That's going to be fun to watch. Jane Daniels, I mean, he's electric. I mean, he's 7-8 games in, and it's already must-watch TV. I love that for the Commanders. They've been through some rough.
Yeah,
years
he's
for
definitely
sure.
good. He's definitely fun to watch, and I like the Commanders a lot too. But I mean, you know how it is.
No, I 100% I get that. Chase likes the Commanders a lot as well. Next up, we got Vikings at Jags. This one, I don't know how many people are going to be watching this one. I got the Vikings at minus 2.5. What do you think?
Yeah, 2.5 seems low. I said Vikings minus 7.5. No notes, no nothing. Vikings 7.5.
Chase?
Similar thought. Vikings 4.5.
Okay, Hunter?
I'm not going to speak on this game.
Gotcha. The books have the Vikings at minus 4. The reason I went that low is just because the Vikings have kind of had a little bit of a rough patch. Obviously, they've had a bye week in there, but lost to the Rams, questionable ending call there, and then kept it kind of close with the Colts. So either way, next up we got Falcons at Saints. Chase, I'm going to let you lead this one off. What do you think of your Saints here?
We're terrible. We're starting to blow it up. Fire a head coach.
Finally.
Congratulations on
Yeah,
that, by
hey,
the way.
what a play.
I was happy to see it, to be honest with you. It's time for change, but this is a bad Saints team, very bad. I got the Falcons minus 13.5.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the Falcons minus 6.5. I think that Kirko is good, but as Red says almost every single week, I don't think the Falcons have that knockout punch. I think they'll keep it close. What do you think?
Yeah, this week I think that the Falcons are going to acquire said knockout punch.
Oh,
but
switching it up.
it's more that I think the Saints might just have a weak jaw, if we're being honest. And
Okay.
so I'm going to take the Falcons minus 9.5
That
here.
was good. That was good. Hunter, what do you think?
I think same as Redbone. It's crazy that Chase is saying we, as in he's been a Saints fan this entire time, but apparently he's been a Commanders fan. I just don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Money
because
talks.
the
Money
time-
talks. Money talks.
Great song.
Okay, sure.
I don't even know what to.
Continue, Marv.
I'll just let that be what it is. Next game we've got Titans at Chargers. This one's, you'd think the Chargers are going to run away with it, but the Chargers have had a hard time getting some points in. Quentin Johnston, shout out to TCU, finally turning it on. He's been pretty fun to watch for them. For that reason alone, I'm going to take the Chargers minus 3.5. The Titans do stink, but I think the Chargers are incapable of scoring. I don't know what their deal is. I'm going to take the under as well.
Yeah, I definitely like the under here. I don't know what it is, but it probably will hit.
Probably
Titans
27.5.
are very, 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 very bad. They're blowing it up. They're bad. The Chargers on the other side are trying to build. Give me the Chargers minus 9.5. Jim Harbaugh, 9.5.
Harbaugh's,
Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh in and of itself, I think that adds a few points.
When in doubt, Jim Harbaugh out.
100%. Chase,
Hell
your
yeah.
thoughts?
Similar as Redden. I got the Chargers minus 4.5. This Titan team's awful, just bad. Who's starting at quarterback? Mason Rudolph?
I'm
He's
not quite
still in
sure.
the league?
Yeah, well,
I
and
think he's the starter in the Titans.
Yeah, I think he's starting.
Yeah, well,
Good for him.
good. Yeah, good for him is right. The Bucks have the Chargers at -7.5. I don't know if they can score that many points. Hunter, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a game that the only reason I'd be watching it is because I have Dicker the kicker on my fantasy team, and I'm expecting him to probably drop like 15 this game. Honestly, I
That's a
think
good
the
call.
Chargers, the Chargers are good, but they're still not good enough to score, and I think the Titans will prove that today or on Sunday. Sorry, and but they're still gonna crush the Titans. The Titans can't do anything on the offensive side of the ball. So give me the Chargers 9.5.
It's really too bad the Chargers aren't better. Like with Harbaugh and
They're building.
I think that
They're
team's
building.
just
they've
cursed.
been
It's
building
year
for
one.
years.
Yeah,
No, it's
No,
Jim
no.
Harbaugh.
Building.
No, yeah.
Not with
Who
Harbaugh.
did they have? Brandon Staley?
Yeah,
That guy sounds like a brand of like off-brand bananas.
stale bread.
Like no,
Dude,
stale bananas.
I know a couple Chargers fans, and they feel they don't have the pride that the Cowboys fans do, but they're definitely like, why haven't we done anything in 20 years with Phillip Rivers? You know?
Yeah,
Because they're the
That's how it is.
Chargers. But now they have Jim Harbaugh.
No,
Who-
hey,
I think it was
3
because of
years
Eli
from now,
Manning.
3 years from now, maybe it's a little bit different. I don't know. But for now, I'm just a little bit disappointed. Hopefully they can turn it on Sunday. Next up, we got Jets at Cardinals. This one is interesting. As aforementioned, the Jets maybe looking to turn things up a little bit. Devontae Adams said that the vibe from Aaron Rodgers right now is similar to that of 2016 Green Bay when they ran the table, made it into the playoffs, and made some noise. I don't know if I agree. From what I've seen on the field, I don't think the Jets are that good. And Cardinals have surprised me the last few weeks. I'm going to take a page out of Hunter's book here, go with Bo Brock, and take the Cardinals -8.5.
Yeah, I also have learned my lesson on betting against the Cardinals, even though I just can't quite quit on the Jets. There's something about them. Like, on
I
paper,
know.
they should be so good.
Yeah.
But they're just somehow terrible.
Do you think Mike
Jets are the
Williams leaving the
Jets.
building helps him?
I think, honestly, if everyone left the building, that would probably help them. They'd probably improve if there was, like, some type of, like, relegation draft or something. Like, there's that rule in the NFL, like, if more than, like, 15 players or something, like, pass away in, like, a plane crash or something, it triggers, like, a redraft of the entire league. I think that might be the Jets' best option at this point.
I think the other
That
rule that you
sounds
might be
awesome.
thinking of is if you disrespect the almighty Mahomo finger, you get relegated to the XFL. So you got to be careful of that, obviously. Chase,
Valid.
what are your thoughts on the game?
I don't think too much of it. The Jets are exciting, but they're just not there. Bad organization. I got the Cardinals -1.
Organizational bet. That's a page out of Redden's book. The books, speaking of, currently have the Jets. Oh, excuse me. This one's interesting. No. This one is really interesting because I was looking at the lines and it just said toss up.
That's awesome.
They didn't pick a
Wow.
team, so I had to put a team into the spreadsheet here. But they literally have it as the line is 0 on ESPN Bet right now. It'll probably
That's
change as
awesome.
we get closer to the game, but recording this on Wednesday, that's where it sits right now. Hunter, your thoughts on the books currently literally saying flip a coin, you'll have better odds there, and then obviously on the game.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's insane. I've never seen that before, that they won't even put something out just to make money. But anyways, what I'm thinking here is I've taken Bo Brock the past 2 weeks, and it's paid off for me. I'm not going to take him on this week. These are two flying objects. One's a bird, and one is a 10,000 pound aircraft. So give me the Jets -5.
Okay, I like it. A lot of advanced analytics this week.
Very.
That's how we made our way through March Madness a couple of years ago. So if
That was
you're
beautiful.
if you're a real fan, I mean, you remember.
Where is Marquette? No one knows where Marquette is.
Nobody likes the letter A. All right, next up we have an interdivisional matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Hunter, I will let you go ahead and lead this one off for us as it is your team.
Yes, everybody, please bow your heads.
Negative Ghost
Dear
Rider.
Lord, I would like to say thank you for such a wonderful franchise and the most popular team in the entire world. With that being said, I wish there was something that you could do for us. Help us win on Sunday against our division rival. Amen. So, with this game, there's a lot on the line, right? I mean, this is basically second spot of the NFC East, depending on what the Commanders do for the next, 7 weeks, right? With that being said, the Eagles are probably going to win this game, and I had Jalen Hurts as my starting quarterback on fantasy. But still, give me the Cowboys. Let's go -6. Maybe this is the game. We thought it would be the 49ers that were going to get all those fans back in the seats. No, this is the game where we're like, time to, lay some pipe. Time to shoot those birds out of the sky and show everybody who's boss.
That's right. Those Cowboys. Right on. Exactly. Okay, so
And we
here's what
shot
happened.
ourselves in the head.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so here's what happened, right? I'm looking at these games. I'm making my picks. I'm like, all right, you know what? Eagles supposed to win this game. I'm not going to go chalk. Obviously, that's lame. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys here. There's a chance maybe they turn it on. Then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's like a pretty big deal going on with Dak Prescott and his hamstring. He's out. He's out maybe 4 weeks. So then I'm like, okay, maybe we got to go Birds here. That's probably the
Then you
play.
got
Then I
Trey
go,
Lance.
no, it's currently the depth chart.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush, correct.
Oh, I
And
thought,
so
I
then-
thought we were going to start Trey instead. I was like, I'd rather have – my buddy was like, yo, they're starting Trey Lance. I was like,
I think it's
Cooper
trending
Rush
that
sounds
way.
better.
Oh, is it really? Oh, that would change my pick. But as of for now, I went flip, flop, flip, just like them sandals. It went Cowboys -1.5. Your thoughts, Red?
Yeah, this was a game that I like deep down in my heart. I think that the Eagles are going to lose this game outright, and then it's just going to hand the NFC East to the Commanders.
That'd be fun.
That being said, I'm taking the Eagles -16.5. I think that the Cowboys are just honestly, Cooper Rush or Trey Lance being in makes it a little scarier than Dak Prescott. At
Yeah.
least Dak Prescott we know is good for like 2 picks a game. And 200 yards, 1 touchdown, and the Cowboys score like 13 points.
Yeah.
That's
He's
typically what
chasing
happens.
Winston. Don't get mad because he's chasing Winston for 30 for 30.
He is not Jameis Winston.
I don't know about
But
that.
Eagles -16.5 here.
Interesting. Chase, who do you have?
I got the Eagles -3.5. I didn't realize Dak would be out for this game, so it almost makes me want to go the Cowboys just because of how much Dak has regressed. But I'll stick with my pick. Go Eagles 3.5.
Yeah, I actually saw that he was out, and I was like, oh, maybe they're better now. They might
Might
genuinely
be the spark
better.
they need.
Yeah,
Top
that's
seven,
what.
top 7 in the league.
If Dak comes out and they go 4-0 and win every game by 150 points, what happens to Dak?
Jerry Jones forces him to start. What are you talking about?
You're right on. I shouldn't have said anything. That's exactly right. All right, next up we got Lions-Texans. This one's going to be fun. I'm tired of taking the Lions by anything less than 20, so I'm going to take them by 20.5 here. I think the Texans are good. They got the absolutely sick, like really sick, chrome red helmets and all red jerseys they're wearing in this game. That's going to give them a boost, but the Lions are so damn good, I don't think it matters. 20.5.
Yeah, I kind of have the exact same thought process. Did not know that about the jerseys. That's interesting. But I'm going to take the Lions -19.5 here. I think that jersey thing gets them 1 extra point. Give me the Lions -19.5.
I like it, Chase.
Yeah, I got the Lions -9.5. Not quite as big, but I do agree. Their offense looks really good. This Texans team isn't quite able to keep up with them, I don't think. So 9.5, it is the NFL. Teams are so close sometimes.
That's fair enough, but somehow the Lions have found a way to run away with a lot of games. Hunter, your thoughts?
You know, I bet the Texans last Thursday, and I bet $20, and I was really bummed out when I lost it until I talked to my friend who's a big Texans fan, and they were plus money. So I was like, this is going to be great. And he was like, oh, I lost money too. And I go, how much? And he goes, he lost $500 because he put him on the Texans. And I don't think that the Texans are in a good spot. I think they're in crumble zone, and so is my friend's wallet. So give me the Lions 11.5.
Interesting. The books currently have the Lions at 3.5-point favorites, a lot closer. I don't think the Texans are that good. Last game of the week, we've got Dolphins at Rams. Monday Night Football, Tua's back. Other than that, I think it'll be a boring game, typical primetime game for some reason. I got the Rams at 4.5, but I don't know if I even like that pick, to be honest.
Yeah, I said Rams -5.5. Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford. Yeah, 5.5.
Agreed. Chase?
Rams 6.5. Nothing to add.
Okay, currently the books have them at -1. So the Rams kind of sweeping there. And Hunter,
Can I have I just had a quick question. Is there a line on Tua for concussion? Oh, like 0.5 or anything? Over under?
That's, I mean, if you hit the over, it's like it's not like it's going any higher than 1. You get 1. I think he gets 1 for the rest of his life.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, there it is. You know, I think that I don't give a shit about any of these teams. I can't talk analytical on this bullshit. Like,
What do you think of the slate? What do you think of the week?
Hey, the whole week seems great. I still would have Commanders and the Steelers in prime time. This would probably be the game to switch it out with the Dolphins and the Rams, kick them to the noon o'clock slot. But hey, that's just me. I'm not Roger Goodell. I think we have some good picks here, boys.
I like it. I think we're going to go undefeated. Next week, we will have more analytics on our picks. Be sure to stay tuned for that. I'm going to go in and dive into the numbers. We got a little bit lazy with tracking these, so we're going to grab all the numbers. We're going to suit up. We're going to go dive into the minds that are the Excel spreadsheets, and we're going to give you guys all the data so you know exactly who to tail and who to fade. I can almost tell you right now, tail with Chase, fade Redden and I. I'm sorry, Red, to lump you into there, but we have not been historically very good. Chase seems to always win. I'm in one of these group chats with him. He's constantly posting, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to post this before the game. I just won $1,800. My bad, guys.
Yeah,
It's like, okay.
Well, see, that's the problem is he probably put 1,800 on the Saints. It's
Not
just
true.
It's
Not
just
true.
how it works. He doesn't
Not
post
true.
the losers. No one posts the losers. He only posts the winners. You're like,
Yeah,
oh wow,
literally.
this guy's clearing $1,000 a week, but he's losing 3.
Not true. Not true.
Chalk Malloy, that's what they're calling him.
Hey, I don't look in other
Hey,
men's
if it makes
pockets,
money, it
for
makes
sure.
money.
Yeah,
Chase,
you never
we
know
should
what you're
honestly get on your phone and set deposit limits because I think you might need it now.
Here, do you want to see my last month?
And we don't have to look at nothing.
You say, I don't pocket watch other guys because you never know what happens when you open up a guy's pocket. I learned that in 7th grade, that's for sure.
What does that mean? Oh, no, I know the story.
All right, that's going to do it for Handicap Hour this week. Next up, we got Talking 25. And guess what? As I said in the intro, this is the first official college football committee. Is that what they're called? The college football
playoff rankings.
The college football playoff committee ranking deal. Extravaganza is a great word for it. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. These are the current top 25 teams per the selection committee. Interesting. We've got Oregon at 1, Ohio State at 2, Georgia 3, Miami 4, Texas 5, Penn State 6, Tennessee rounding out number 7 there, Alabama, Iowa State sneaks in at 17. Yeah, that's about it. So honestly, what do you guys make of this? Because I mean, everyone knows these are not like the end, right? Who really cares what these rankings are? In the end, this could be, the top 8 teams could all drop 2 games in a row and everything looks completely different 3 weeks from now. But I will say this is an indication of where the committee is at currently. Red, you're a little bit more of a college football connoisseur than myself. What'd you make of the rankings that the committee officially decided on?
Yeah, I think that there's really nothing here that should shock people. I think Indiana they're a little mad being behind teams like Penn State, Texas, and Tennessee right now. They come in at number 8 with Texas, Penn State, and Tennessee being ahead of them in order, 5, 6, 7. So Indiana, I understand why they have a gripe there because they're like, oh, we're undefeated. BYU has a similar gripe. But what both these teams do not have is a good win on their schedule. I think Indiana's most impressive win, it honestly might be Nebraska, and Nebraska probably isn't going to make a bowl game. So they really don't have anything to hang their hat on. So Indiana, I think, is in more trouble than people want to admit. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it shakes out. It is just the first rankings.
Indiana currently, this is the fact of the matter. This will not change. Their strength of schedule is 103rd. And all the other teams were like 75th or better. There's only like 1 or 2 that snuck in to those 70s. So obviously strength of schedule playing into Indiana's ranking there. But I don't think it matters. Who cares if you're 5 or 12?
Correct.
Like, I don't know what you were saying there, Hunter. I'll cut to you in a second here. But I just think that as an Indiana Hoosier, do you really care if you're 5 or 12?
Oh,
realistically,
they 100% care, but
does it like
it doesn't really have a long-term effect?
You got to be
there's so many games this week and next week, and even for the rest of the season, there's a ton of games that are going to have to be played, and a lot of those teams, your Tennessees, Texas, Georgias, Ohio States, Miami's, Penn States, Ole Miss is in there, Alabama. They all still have to play very, very tough games. They still have a lot of those games left. Indiana doesn't. So my guess is that what the College Football Playoff Committee they were kind of trying to hedge their bets there by saying, okay, we think Texas, Penn State, or Tennessee will probably lose. We don't want to come in with Indiana at like 6. And then we get into a weird spot where, okay, at the end of the year, they're undefeated. They just lost the Big Ten championship game. They were ranked 4th before that because they were undefeated. But in reality, in terms of like how good they are power ranking wise, they're probably should be like the 10 seed or something like that. So my guess is that the College Football Playoff Committee is just trying to hedge their bets and not get too ahead of themselves with Indiana. And they want to see where some of those like blue bloods who everyone expects to be here, they want to see how those guys fall exactly, is my guess.
What do you think of Indiana minus 14 against Michigan this weekend?
Love it.
Really?
Michigan's bad. They have absolutely no offense whatsoever. Kirk Cignetti is a psychopath who cares about beating everybody by 80, and he's 100% every single team meeting for Indiana right now. He's just banging the drum of they're underranking us, they're underestimating us. So I expect them to come out and try to probably triple up Michigan.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either. I just think it's interesting that, I mean, they haven't haven't won by less than 14, and that's exactly what the line is at. The books are starting to catch on a little bit to Indiana's antics. Hunter, I'll ask you, what were you saying in there? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't remember what I was saying. I just think my only gripe with the top 25 is Alabama. I think Alabama should be ranked lower than 11, and if I had to put a team in there to switch them out with Alabama, it's Texas A&M. You know, Alabama lost to Texas, right? To Texas. So that's that's a good loss. You can take that and still be ranked high, but an unranked Vandy just doesn't compare to Texas A&M, who lost to number 10 Notre Dame now, and also an unranked SEC South Carolina. So they both have I guess it's like comparable, but still I think A&M would have a better run at the college football playoff than Alabama would.
Yeah, I think the reasoning behind that, Hunter, and I agree with you that like right now it looks weird. It's like, why is Alabama this high? But it's similar, I think, to the Indiana thing. I think the College Football Playoff Committee is saying, okay, we think that Alabama is going to finish this season at 10-2, and a pretty solid 10-2. So I think that they're worried that if they had them at like 14-15, when teams
it's gonna be hard to jump them at the end.
Yeah, they're trying to position teams a little bit ahead of time here, is my guess, and that's I kind of think what we're seeing with Indiana being a little bit lower and Bama being a little bit higher than what people would think.
Interesting.
But what if the Aggies win out and they beat Texas at the end of the year?
Then I think they would be in over Bama if Bama wins out. What's Bama's schedule look like?
I don't know what Bama's schedule look like. Obviously, Red, you're looking that up right now. I think TAMU is. Ooh. I think they should be in. Period. I think they're a very good team.
I mean, they only have Texas left. They have New Mexico State, and that's there's nothing there.
Yeah, agreed.
Bama has LSU, so if they beat LSU at night this week in Death Valley, to me that's a reasonable win.
That's a pretty big game.
That's a win and get in. Yeah. Yep. Okay, that's fair.
That's a big game. All right, Chase, I got a question for you because my biggest gripe is Notre Dame. I'll go into that in a second here. What do you make of these? Obviously, Iowa not cracking the top 25, no surprise there. Do you have a second team, kind of like how you take the Commanders when the Saints suck? What's your thoughts on these top 25?
I bet he's the biggest Alabama fan now.
No, I like SMU a lot, actually.
He's on Oregon.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so SMU at 13 then. What do you think of them just barely getting eked out? Because ACC kind of looks like it's theirs for the taking right now, other than obviously Miami.
I mean, what they did to Pitt, and their only loss to BYU, which is a good team, undefeated, obviously. I'd like to see them win out and sneak into this. Boise's there, but I don't think they're necessarily the same team, like as good as SMU. I don't know who Boise plays the rest of the season. They probably won't be tested. Their schedule is probably fairly easy, but SMU's offense is pretty electric. They piss-pounded Pitt, who was undefeated at the time. I just feel like that wasn't talked about enough.
What you're missing with Boise State, though, is that there is going to be a Group 5 team, and they are just currently the projected Group 5 team.
Yeah. I think they're miles better than any of the other teams currently.
Correct. The other two in contention are Tulane and Army. Army would be cool. I think everyone roots for Army because it's Army.
Yeah,
Tulane would obviously be whatever, the Green Wave, cool mascot, but right now it's Boise State.
Yeah. Hunter?
Yeah, my friend's sister goes to Tulane, and she sent me a video from one of their aftermaths from a party, and it was just full of CO2 canisters. I don't know what this has to do with football, but I'm just saying that I think they're a little too fucked up with the Whippets over there in New Orleans. And I think Army might lose to one of their next teams, but yeah, I like Boise State a lot.
Army does have Notre Dame, I believe.
Well, so that's where my gripe is. Obviously, you look at these. Okay, so let's say you take this at face value, and you're like, okay, so you got two Big Ten teams at 1 and 2. Then you got an SEC and an ACC to round out the top 4 there. SEC at 5. You're looking at these conference-wise, right? And you're like, well, this is just a lot of teams. But realistically, 1 through 4, I mean, this is not the official. You can't have one and 2, be the same conference when the actual 12 team comes around, because one of them has conference winner of the Big Ten, for the top 4 conference
wild
winners.
card, yeah.
Right, essentially. So this will change up, and just literally from just how the bracket works, and we'll kind of touch on that in a second. I kind of want to see, do you think Colorado could get in, all these sorts of things. But Notre Dame being at number 10 is just irritating to me. Because they play nobody, and they lost to Northern Illinois, and they're a different team now. I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, but they also beat Texas A&M, and I guess it's the first game, so it's Texas A&M is still a little shaky, but
put them at 14 then.
That's I guess so. Maybe like 13 or something.
I just think 10 is too high. That's just me.
That's right. Top 10's kind of wild for someone who lost to, I didn't even know Northern Illinois existed. So
yeah,
the important thing to realize about Notre Dame here is they're probably only going to have one loss, and they're gonna finish the season beating more than likely Florida State, who turns out to be terrible,
literally the worst team in the nation.
Virginia, Army, who's currently ranked 18, and then they finish at USC. So they actually finish with 4 decent games to end it here. They just always play that weird schedule because they are Notre Dame. But they did beat also a pretty decent Louisville team who just handed it to Clemson this week.
Yeah.
That was shocking to me. I thought Clemson was probably going to be a little bit better than that. They weren't. So the Louisville win looks a little bit better, and it's Notre Dame. So the legacy media they're going to prop up Notre Dame. It's just what's going to happen.
It's inevitable. And speaking of media in general, I think it's a great time to touch on Colorado, currently ranking number 20 there. But when you look at the Big 12 as a whole, realistically, pretty wide open. BYU currently undefeated, then Iowa State at number 2, and I think Colorado is tied at number 2 as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look that up in just a second here. But they could easily, it would not surprise me if they sneak in, especially if the committee is looking at a 3 SEC team situation, 3 Big Ten teams maybe, or whatever the case might be, and they're like, do we add an extra SEC or Colorado? I would not be surprised if they pick a media favorite in Colorado. What do you think here, Chase?
Yeah, I think they have a path, even if they have to make the Big 12 championship, but even if they lose it, they're looking at, I don't even know what their record is.
2 loss right now.
6-2.
2. So if they win out, their losses to Nebraska, which looks bad now,
but
Kansas State, who was not a bad team at the time. Other than that, their schedule is fairly weak, but they're going to be a 2-loss team. And we look at the SEC where a lot of teams could beat up on each other. Let's just say somehow Georgia loses to Ole Miss. Does Ole Miss sneak in there? It could be a crazy end of the season.
A lot of football left. Do you have something?
There's absolutely a situation where I think Ole Miss and Georgia get in. I think what people outside of Big Ten and SEC are starting to maybe kind of realize is okay, the conference we're in, whether that's the ACC or the Big 12, probably going to be a 1-bid conference.
Most likely, yes.
I think one of them could be a 2-bid conference, but between the ACC and the Big 12, there will not be 4 teams in. There could be 3 if we see something where SMU beats Miami in the ACC championship game, and then SMU gets in and Miami's in as probably a 7 seed or something like that, 8 seed, get a first-round playoff game at home. And same thing with the Big 12. I could see it where if Iowa State or Colorado, they have to win the Big 12.
Absolutely.
There's no other way around it. And so that's their only path in. Both teams do control their destiny because both teams can win out and make it to the Big 12 championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But say Colorado or Iowa State wins the Big 12, then I could see a world potentially where BYU sneaks in as a 10 or 11 seed. But other than that, we're looking at Notre Dame, the Group 5, that's 2 schools.
Yep.
The 4 automatic bids from each one. And then I think we're going to see probably minimum of 3 from both the Big 10 and the SEC. So that brings you up to about 11 teams. And then it's okay, do we take an extra SEC, Big 10, Big 12, or ACC team? This is what it comes down to. So it's going to be who has a better strength of schedule, better resume, an Iowa State, Colorado, SMU, or a 2-loss Ole Miss, a 2-loss Tennessee, a 2-loss Alabama. Who are they going to take? It's going to be one of those SEC teams.
Really?
Or even a 2-loss Penn State maybe could get in.
Interesting. I think they might
I have
side
a
with.
question for you
Oh
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, Chase, go ahead.
So let's say Colorado and Iowa State win out. Both of them have 2 losses, or I guess Iowa State would only have 1 then. Dumb question. Never mind. Forget about it.
I was gonna say BYU is not losing, so I think BYU is pretty much guaranteed to go to the Big 12 championship right now. I think it's just a matter of if Iowa State will lose again, and like we all know in the Big 12, all roads lead through Lubbock. Okay, sorry, I thought Redbone was gonna be on that one. Maybe not. I think Dion's hyping up this game, so then he's trying to hype up the committee, like in the media. Like I like that you talk about media, Marv. I think he's hyping up this game to be like, oh yeah, this is a huge game. Bro, it's Texas Tech. Like, come on. Obviously, they played spoiler against Iowa State. They pretty much eliminated TCU from being bowl eligible. Like, we are on thin ice right now. And I think he's trying to hype up this game to where if they win it, then he'll be the second one in, even if he loses in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I could see that, and I would pump the brakes on BYU just because Utah this weekend, it being a rivalry game. You never know what happens, right? Rivalry games obviously kind of open.
I know what
the
happens
door.
in Utah, and Utah's ass because TCU beat them.
Well,
And if TCU's beating the team this year, you know that they stink. So, and that's just how
Utah's bad.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
Utah's
I don't know.
bad. They
I mean,
are
Iowa
bad.
State's been a bad team and beat Iowa before when they were good, just because the playing field is leveled when things get dicey. I mean, that's how rivalry games work, and that's what makes college football so great. And I'd like to just take a second to appreciate this. Let's just take a second and realize everyone was wrong that said this is going to ruin college football. The 12-team playoff is going to just tear apart everything that we love, that is American sport, college football. No. We're sitting here talking about who's going to be the 10 seed, who's going to be the 11 seed, who's going to be the 12 seed. We're having the same conversations. It's just that they're more in depth now, and I couldn't be more excited to see where, obviously, with 3-4 weeks left, 4 weeks I think it is exactly before conference championships. This is the best time of the year. It really is. Every game matters. Even teams with a loss or 2 losses are going to be like, hey, if we make a championship game, things could change. Things could get different really quickly. Obviously, a team like Louisville is going to have a harder time than maybe a team like Iowa State, but this is pretty wide open. I will say the biggest gripe I think I have with this is that Vanderbilt didn't make top 25. That is unfortunate. Missouri, really? What are we doing?
Missouri's so bad. I don't know how they're still being talked about. They're so bad.
I don't know about all of that. All right, Chase, do you have any closing thoughts on the top 25 before we turn it away for our zero to hero?
I do. I would like to rephrase my question.
Okay, go ahead, Chase.
So,
The floor is yours.
Let's say Iowa State takes 1 loss, Colorado wins out. Who gets in between them and the Big 12 championship?
Only the Big 12 championship gets it. Big 12 championship.
No, he's saying
into
who
the
plays in
Big
the Big
12
12.
championship.
God, that's hard because they both played Kansas State.
Well, if
Like,
Colorado doesn't...
Colorado
Like,
lost
what's the
to Kansas
tiebreaker
State,
between
so
Colorado and Iowa State is what you're asking?
I guess Iowa State would have
get in.
2. No, because Iowa State would have 2 Big 12 losses, and
It's a conference
Colorado
loss.
only have 1.
Oh, you're saying 1 more loss. Okay, got it.
Yeah, if they both had 2 losses. So I guess it'd be
That
probably
loss would come
Colorado
to
in that
Kansas
case.
State.
Yeah, Iowa State probably has to win out, basically, to avoid that situation. Right now, it's BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, Kansas State, and then Texas Tech somehow snuck their way up there, which is really fucking annoying.
If
But
Texas Tech wins out, we might be looking at some fucking kids with STDs in AT&T Stadium, which would piss me off.
I just don't
I
know
hate
if
the
Texas Tech
Raiders.
has a path, to be honest. But, I mean,
I don't.
that's a long ways down the road. That is 100%
If they
a
can
long
win
way down
out,
the road.
I mean, they could do it. You beat Boulder
Everyone in the Big 12 just needs to start realizing that their only path in is winning the Big 12 championship game. So they need to start focusing on that. Unless you're BYU, you have an outside chance. But everyone else, stop worrying about everyone else. Win the Big 12 championship game, and then you don't have to worry about it because you're not getting in if you don't.
Okay, so because you're
I don't
so
know, the
passionate.
Big 12, yeah. Well, sorry, I was just gonna say that the Big 12 just pisses me off because we always beat each other up. We can never be like a good team, It's just like you put a bunch of like arsons in a dark room with a bunch of guns. Yeah, they're gonna shoot each other. That's just how it works. And then hopefully one person doesn't get shot, and you send them out, and you're like, yeah, this is our undefeated person for the season, and then boom, then they have to face like Shaq with a bazooka, like from the SEC in the next room, and that's just how it goes, and then boom, they get blown up.
The Big 12 does beat each other up. Red, I have a question for you. I'm just kind of curious, and this will round out our top 25. Let's just say, hypothetically, this is a purely hypothetical. I don't want to hear, oh, well, that would never happen. I just want to know what you think.
So this is 100% never happening.
Iowa State,
Yes,
Iowa
not
State
going.
wins the next 4 games by 100 points each. They win them all 114
Then they
to
would be
14. But they lose the Big 12 championship
Then they
game.
would be in.
You think? What if they lose the Big 12
If
championship
your
game by
point
100
differential over your last 5 games of the season is in the ballpark of 350 positive, you will be in the college football playoff.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That would not be it. No, they would not be in.
Last crazier hypothetical. Iowa State
Crazier hypothetical.
Iowa State wins the next 4 by 100 each. Their point differential over the last 4 is plus 400.
Okay.
Then they go to the Big 12 championship game and they lose by 500.
They're out. Can confirm. Breaking news here on Marv on Air.
Damn it.
Iowa State, if they lose by 500 in the Big 12 championship game, will not make the college football playoff. Breaking news here.
It's a fair assessment as much as I really do hate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is.
This episode of Marv on Air is brought to you by Xbox 360. Xbox 360 is bringing you a blast from the past where they bring back new games that are actually old games such as Minecraft, Plants vs. Zombies, and of course NCAA 14. Xbox 360 is available practically nowhere because they are out of stock. Stop by your local Target and Walmart where you will absolutely not find an Xbox 360. If you need an Xbox 360, be sure to check out maybe eBay, maybe your local GameStop. Are they out of business? Nobody knows. Be sure to check out Xbox 360 and everything Xbox 360 has to offer. Now, here's Zero to Hero of the Week.
That was fucking gold. Time for
Trivia.
Zero to Hero.
Trivia.
Oh, you're right.
TTTTT.
TTTTTTLTH.
What do we got? Is this another completely
I hope you guys
not objective
know
trivia?
I hope you guys. This is purely fact. I just hope you guys know your divisions and can think about NFL teams per division. Can you guys do that for me?
That's pretty easy.
Before you dive
There's
in,
32.
Hunter, I'd like to give you credit. They have gotten slightly better week to week. Okay, I will
All right,
give you
well,
that.
This is one of those weeks where it's definitely better.
Okay, let's see it. What do we got?
All right. So our first question is kind of easy. Okay.
Okay.
What NFL division has won the least Super Bowls collectively?
AFC South.
Okay. All right. So that was very quick. And who is it and how many?
Huh?
I thought you said the division, the AFC South.
Yeah. What team? What team and how many? Or what teams?
Have won Super
The
Bowl?
Colts have 2. No, the Colts have 1.
The Texans don't have any. The
They
Jags
don't have any. The Jags don't have any.
But then the Titans maybe have.
They don't have any. So it's the
Okay.
Colts. The Colts have 1.
And that's correct with the Colts, but the Colts have 2. They won like Super Bowl 13 or some
Okay,
BS like
doesn't
that.
count.
Yeah.
If it's in black and white, doesn't count.
I don't think I understood the question, but either way, question number 2.
All right, the medium-paced question.
Ooh.
Which one has the most Super Bowl wins?
So which team or which division?
AFC North.
Division.
AFC North.
Sorry, division. Not
I like
the
that one.
AFC North.
Would it be the NFC East?
East.
There you go. All right, and do you guys have any numbers on those, or do you want to guess the total number of wins?
Do the Cowboys have 4?
I think they have 3. Cowboys have 3. Eagles have 3. Commanders have 2. Giants have 5.
Not 5.
All right, Redbone, you could not be more wrong at all. The Eagles have 1 win.
I was gonna say,
The
it was
Cowboys-
Eagles have 1.
Yeah,
That was
it's
their
only-
first one?
Yeah, I did not know that. I thought that
I
was, like,
figured they
number
had
2.
to have won one in like the 60s.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fair assessment.
The Commanders have 3 wins,
Hmm.
not as the Commanders, but as the other team.
Washington.
Yes.
Yes, Washington. The Giants have 4 wins, and the Cowboys have 5.
I was gonna say I thought they might have 5, but
Yeah,
okay.
no, I knew they had more than 3. 3 is kind of crazy.
Here's
All
a
right,
little
this is the last. Oh,
quick
sorry.
tidbit on what you're saying, Hunter. The Eagles
Yes,
have
sir.
won 4 NFL championships, but only 1 Super Bowl.
so they won 4
Yes,
before.
I'm
it was
Yeah,
not
they were
titled.
really
straight
good
Super
before there
Bowls.
was a Super Bowl.
Past 63 or 60.
That doesn't. That's terrible for
That's bad beat. All right. Is this the hard level question then, Hunter?
It's kind of hard. It's not that bad.
Okay.
So there's
Thankfully.
we're gonna go top 3, okay? I calculated this today using geographical location. I made
Okay.
4
God.
points of each different city of the divisions, and I calculated that area, okay? Everybody
Okay.
following me?
them. Yep.
What are the bottom 3 of that area? Like what
Like which ones are the
divisions-
closest?
Yeah, they're the closest that create the least amount of area in like encased by the 4 cities.
NFC North, AFC North, NFC East.
It's definitely the Norths.
That's fucking crazy. That's insane that you got that.
Yeah. Well, the Norths are
The Norths are
no-brainers.
clumped, and then the East.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
the Norths are.
The East is just Dallas.
It's like a line, so the area
It's
would be
so
quite
skinny.
small.
Yeah, I never thought you guys would get the NFC East. But yeah, if you guys want the stats on that, that's NFC East is 50,000 square miles. The NFC North is 45,000 square miles, which is crazy that there's only a 5,000 difference there.
Yeah, that's
And the
extremely.
AFC North is 30,000.
I mean, that would be so cool. Like they're actually like a division.
If you lived in one of those cities, like it would only be like a 2-hour drive to go to the away divisional game. That's awesome.
versus like the AFC West, Kansas
Just
City
the
to Las Vegas.
Everything west of Mississippi.
Yeah, they're very spread out. Even the NFC West, coast to like LA to it's
AFC
not
South kind of too.
Seattle.
I
Yeah.
guess that's like a.
I mean, I think AFC East just
Pyramid.
sucks in general for like
True.
the Dolphins.
You got to go
You
the
gotta go
whole
all the way up
coast.
to upstate New York, and then maybe we get a warm game. No, you're going East New York, and then you're going to Boston. It's ridiculous.
I guess I'm
They
a little
just don't get a
surprised.
break.
Do you know what their number was, the AFC East? Because they are kind of a line as well.
I did not. I didn't calculate that because I just figured there's no fucking way.
I wonder if that one would be kind of close because I didn't even think about they are kind of like clumped and then a straight shot as well. So maybe they're close. I don't. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, that was TTTTTTLTH with yours truly, Father.
Father Mulberry.
Okay.
Naturally.
Thank you very much. All right, now it is time for Zero to Hero. Chase, you've been quiet. Apparently not caught up on the divisions in the NFL. I'll let you go ahead and lead
Chase
us off.
doesn't know anything.
Jeez.
He just knows about the Commanders. That's all he knows about.
Hey, that's one thing that you could
That's
know a
all right.
lot about and be successful
If
at
there's
for
one
sure.
thing about the Commanders, it's gonna be Chase commanding JD's dick in his throat. All right, continue, Marv.
Okay, Chase, who's your zero for the week?
My zero is just kind of close to home. The Saints were really bad. Lost to the Panthers. Fired head coach, which I agree with. Probably about time. Needed to change up. Traded Lattimore Tuesday, which I agree. We probably need to trade, get picks, try to rebuild. But my fear is that we're going to draft Shadir Sanders with like the 3 pick. And I don't know if he'll pan out in the NFL at all.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be awesome.
So
He looks good in gold.
He does.
I mean, the colors go well, but that's about all we got to look forward to. Just
Chase,
a
I thought you
bummer of an
told me-
organization right now.
I thought you told me your zero was the presidency change. I thought you weren't fly with that. Was that just me, or maybe I heard
Chase, how
something
many
different?
years until the Saints win a Super Bowl then, huh?
It might not happen in my lifetime.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy.
That's a bold prediction.
Tough look.
Yeah.
That is a tough look. Hunter,
I
who's your
would
zero for
say
the week?
20 years.
20 years? I think you can get a
Oh, that's
turnaround
not
in 20
bad.
years.
You'll probably live longer than 20 years.
I would. Oh, well,
I hope.
that's a coin flip. That's a Jets Cardinals right there.
Pick them.
All right, Hunter, what do you think?
My zero for the week is fake Saints fans. Like, as soon as the going gets bad, which it hasn't been this bad in a while, they just completely jump ship and just bandwagon the next team that's the opposite of their record. It's not my fault your team's 2-5. Now, let's get a 5-2 team. Just fucking relax. Like, just chill out. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm just saying that, and I guess it's not just Saints fans. It's pretty much anybody that, like Cole with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Cole just jumped on the Chiefs train as soon as they started winning and being good. I've never seen that guy wear a Chiefs t-shirt before.
Until they started winning.
28,
Until they
18.
start winning.
Until they started winning. Exactly. So, yeah, pretty much for me, it's just bandwagon fake fans.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people it's one thing if you're like barely a football fan and you have a few teams that you enjoy watching because, like, the Dolphins are fun when Tua's healthy.
Yeah,
and
if you're a
Tyreek is
casual, it's
fast.
fine. But
Yeah,
if
it's
you
like
go on a sports show every week and talk sports and you talk religiously about how much you love the NFL and then you just immediately switch up when the going gets bad and shit hits the wall, that drives me up a wall, you
yeah,
know?
like could you imagine if I like just automatically turned into a Ravens fan? Like
No, I can't.
be a bad look. Be a
Yeah.
bad look.
Yeah. Imagine me cheering for the Chiefs now. You know, I've been through the shit. I've never seen the Cowboys win more than 3 playoff games in my entire lifetime. You don't see me cheering for the Eagles in 2017 or going for the Patriots. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
That's fair.
I
That is fair.
digress. I don't know any of those people. I'm just saying that I've seen those people and they just piss me off.
Chase, you're kind of like squirming around over there. What do you got brewing?
What's going on? What's going on over there, my boy?
I mean, I just talked about the Saints' future and me still being a fan of them 20 years down the road when they hopefully win a Super Bowl. I just enjoy watching the Commanders. They've made me a good amount of money this year. Therefore, I've made them my second favorite team in the league. And they just took Marshawn Lattimore from us. Hopefully, they draft Caden Weegan so then I can just fully commit to them. But the Saints will always be in my heart, and I will always be rooting for them. I have a jersey still. I'm not going to get rid of it, even though that's kind of a sensitive subject because it's an Olave jersey. He has another concussion. We're getting into a little bit of Tua there. Is it worth it anymore? And then his brother came out and said it's definitely not worth it. Nola, I mean, and then you're just piling it on to me. I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
At least the Hawkeyes
check your email. I think the Jane Daniels jersey might have shipped, but if not, just give it till the next morning and then it'll be sent to you.
I did say I might buy a Jane Daniels jersey. I did say that. I did say that.
That'd be lit.
How much does he have to make you before you buy one?
I mean, if it keeps riding out the rest of the year like we have, I'll probably purchase one.
Do you think you can last that long?
And
yeah, dude. Hey, if the Commanders lose 3 more games, we might see him in orange rooting for Bo Nix. So who knows? Who knows?
No, I will not ever be a Bo Nix fan.
Never say never, Chase.
Never say never.
Yeah,
Redden, who's your zero
I
this
will
week?
never root for the Commanders. Look how it's going. Red
Never
Bone,
said
it away.
that. Not once.
Yeah, I actually my zero of the week is James Franklin. After Penn State lost to Ohio State this weekend, unhappy Penn State fan, rightfully so, that they're unhappy. James Franklin famously cannot win the big one. Yelled down at James Franklin and was like, yada, 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 you can't win the big one. James Franklin proceeded to walk up to this guy in the stands and demand to know this kid's name, probably because he was going to try to get him expelled from Penn State. Yeah, James Franklin, probably not a good guy. Wow. James Franklin's my zero of the week.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
Oh,
James
God,
Franklin.
dude. I totally thought you said hero, and I was like, how the fuck can you be defending this? This
No,
is
I can't stand James Franklin.
This is a crazy, like, pinned against the wall moment, and you're just like, I'm riding him to the grave. Like, bro, chill.
No, I can't stand James Franklin.
He fucking went out after, like, some, like, 19-year-old kid. Like, come on. They gotta relax. It's just, it is what it is.
He's just got to win. That's really what it comes down to.
He just doesn't.
Can't seem to find it.
Poor James.
Remember, though, when we went to the Whiteout game and they, like, beat Iowa by 50?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That was pretty cool.
I think James Franklin is, like, the fact that he's, like, consistently winning them 10 games but not winning more than that. I think that, like, he's
a
the
Mike
curse
Tomlin
for Joe Paterno. Like, I think they're like, oh, yeah, Penn State, guess what? You're going to consistently be good but never great. So I think there's some curse and karma going on in the world there.
There's potential for that.
Penn State deserves it.
Interesting. Okay.
Gangster.
Well, I can't get over the fact that Chase is like he's really going through it right now. It seems like he's catching strays.
He's just a sad boy.
Look at him.
Hasn't made his bed. Got no pictures on the fucking wall.
It's not my bed, dude.
I like that shirt a lot though. That's fucking sick. Can you show off that shirt?
Shout out Caden Weegan. Dog. Iowa Hawkeye
There he
legend.
is.
As much as I hate
Hell
him.
yeah.
Not
Better
him.
score a touchdown
them.
this week.
I think you will. All right, next up.
Future
my zero for
Charger
the
right
week.
there if I've ever seen one.
Kind of agree.
Fast.
He'd look sick in blue.
Raiders.
No,
Raiders
no.
get fast dudes.
Oh God, dude! If he goes to
Dude,
the Raiders, I'm gonna
please
lose.
no.
Legion powder blues.
No, I agree. I'm not 100%, but like teams that draft fast dudes, the Chiefs with Worthy, obviously. Raiders historically. Chargers.
That's just almost Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
That had more to do
not-
with the speed
Don't do
limit.
that.
Not a great precedent set there. That's
Yeah.
for sure. We hope Caden the best for sure. Obviously, he'll be playing for the Patriots next year. Let's not get too deep into that. My zero for the week is going to be referees in general. I'm sick of this shit. I know earlier in the season my hero was the refs. I am completely tired of it. And I will say this much: when Iowa State fell to Texas Tech this weekend, there were multiple incidents where calls were made on the field. They threw some flags. Okay, yes, they did. They took them right out of their pocket. Boom, flag on the field. What's the call? Okay, that one was fair. What's the call? Okay, that one was fair. Boom, next call. That one was fair. That pisses me off, but they deserved a lot of them. The one that really got to me was the holding penalty that they scored on. That was clearly OPI. But it's not just college football. It's not just Iowa State. In general, refs are really getting to me. I hate it, especially when Chiefs are playing. That is the biggest one. If Patrick Mahomes asks them nicely, they'll give him the Super Bowl in the middle of a Week 10 game. I mean, they really will. They just are letting everything fly there. I hate it.
I think
Fair
doubling
enough.
down on that, like one of my biggest gripes is the fines. I just saw that they fined Byron Young for the face mask against Sam Darnold that completely like ruined the drive because they didn't see it. Like, how do you not call that, but then you still fine the guy? Like later
It makes
on,
no sense.
it makes
not
no
the-
sense.
It's not the fines that I hate. It's the fines for stuff that wasn't called. How are you going to give a guy a $12,000 fine for unnecessary roughness because he ran into a defender as a running back? Nothing was called on the field. Oh, we think you hit him too hard. Give us $12,000. That is just asinine.
Nothing called on the field, and like, if you don't have that penalty to your name, you should not get that penalty drawn out of your bank account. You know what I mean?
100% agree.
Ridiculous.
I 100% agree.
And a lot of these guys don't like. I was looking at the fines, and it said that if you leave the bench while people are fighting, it's 10 grand. I was like, imagine Brock Purdy just goes out there to mediate the situation. He would get a 10 grand fine, which is like 2% of his paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Like he's going through it. He's still like on rookie contract, and it's like that guy can't do anything. He just has to like let his friends go out there and like die, or he could be like a team player and be a captain that he is, and then he gets fined for it. It's ridiculous.
he definitely has a shorter leash with his salary being what it is. And I mean, yeah, I don't like fines. I don't like the refs right now, to be honest. They're not helping my team, so they're certainly on my zero of the week. I'll put it that way. Chase, let's turn things around, huh? Let's get this beat up for sure. Who is your hero this week?
I'm going to be
Donald
honest.
Trump.
No, I don't really have a great one. So I'll throw no more political ads.
It's a good one.
Hell yeah,
Hopefully
boy.
we're done with them. Don't got to see them anymore. I'm tired of it.
Do you think they'll do political ads again in 4 years or no?
Probably not.
I hope not. That'd be
This
cool.
is the only election that ever mattered ever again, I guess. It's what it seems like.
Chase, I have a question
that?
for you.
What does that mean, Chase?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who'd you vote for?
And why?
And why?
No,
Chase,
Chase.
are you
don't
happy or
share
sad
that.
about the 2024 election?
So in 4 years, when 98% of the population has a Neuralink in, will the political ads just pop up in front of your eyes and
Oh,
like you can't
no.
see anything? And then
They
you gotta
better
like pay for
fucking
the
not.
you gotta
They
pay for the
better not.
subscription to
Get 'em to
not
go
get
away.
Pay for no ads.
yeah,
On your brain.
or else you're.
You got to get political premium.
I hope that's not the case. I really do. That Neuralink, Elon was like, "Oh, it's only gonna be like $300, cost of an Apple Watch," and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's fun and games until you got to pay $4,000 a year to have no ads in your fucking brain." And I was like, "Don't put ideas out there. Don't give him any ideas."
That'd be lit.
No, that's
Have you heard of jerk meat? You're like a fucking in church.
Oh
All right,
my
I got my
goodness.
hero.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am loving this election outcome. Like, you don't know where people, not like, okay, not in that respect. Like, I don't have any political views. I've always been an independent. I voted for RFK. That's just where I stand on the matter. I'm always on the fence, but I never tilt towards either side. I always ride the straight and narrow and just see what happens on the other side of the yard. You know what I mean? But with that being said, you see where people stand. Like, you're like, as soon as October rolls around, you start seeing people post. They're like, make America great. I love women. This is my right to have an abortion, and it's like, this is where you start seeing people branch out from their normal posts, and you're like, I had no idea that person was a Democrat, no idea that person was a conservative. And that's just a little fine line. And then boom, what happened last night, you're seeing it this morning. People are going bonkers.
So
People
what
are
you're saying is
pissed off.
this is a great opportunity to learn more about the people that you love. This is a great opportunity to kind of learn more and connect with those around you because they are more willing to post different things that they might not normally.
Exactly. Yes, and it's crazy to see, like, whoa, like the claws are coming out. People are starting to post crazy stuff. The edits are crazy. I think this is a great time in social media. No matter where you stand on the subject, this is entertaining.
I agree. The election is one of the best times of the year, of the every 4 years, for people to come together and really unite as a united nation. I 100% agree. I can see 100% where you're coming from. Redden, what do you got for your hero this week?
Yeah, my hero of the week is the Providence Duck. Providence student section for basketball. College basketball has been getting kicked off. Earlier in the episode, we talked about that a lot with Gabe. The Providence student section has a duck. The Providence duck.
It's a duck.
A living duck. Like
Do they
not
have
a fake stuffed animal. This is a live duck that Providence brings into their student section, and it's everything that's right with college athletics in general.
Does it have a name?
I looked it up,
I think
and
the
it
Providence
says,
duck.
well, Takuna Matata.
Ooh.
This is awesome. Duck Kuna Matata.
Oh, it's Dakuna Mat. That's incredible.
That's awesome. I love that.
This is the best thing I've ever seen.
I could not be a bigger fan.
Good thing he's not in New
Providence
York.
doing
He
it
could
right.
get killed.
Whoa.
Huh?
Whoa. He's
Sorry, I was
fine.
talking about Peanut the Squirrel, but it is what it is.
Rest in
Oh,
peace,
yeah.
Peanut.
Well, yeah. I remember that was going to be brought up today, and then all of a sudden we started talking about how much people learn to love each other around the election. So
Yeah, exactly.
things take a turn. Sometimes you're just not quite sure where they're going to go. That's for sure. That being said, big fan of the duck. Duck Kuna Matata. We'll keep eyes on that as we move forward through college
Dakuna
basketball season.
Matata.
Dude, imagine they make the Elite Eight or the Final Four and
It'd be
Dakuna's there.
so good.
Oh my God. Does it go deaf? Can ducks go deaf?
No,
Do
I
they-
don't think so medically.
Do they have ears? I don't.
I think they have holes in the side of their head.
So they can
That's the
hear.
stupidest
Just not
shit I've
very
ever.
loud. So I don't think loud
anything
noises
that has ears can go deaf. You can't just. I don't think so. No.
So ducks do
No,
or
if
do
they-
not
if-
have ears?
If
I don't
they
think
can
they have
hear,
ears.
I don't think so either.
Have you heard of a deaf duck?
Have you ever seen a duck before? They don't have ears.
I'm sorry, but I don't speak duck. I'm just saying that anything that can hear can go deaf.
You know
That's
why you
just,
don't
like,
speak duck?
transverse property.
You know why you don't speak
Like-
duck? Because ducks don't have a language because they don't have ears. They wouldn't be able to hear each other even if they had one.
They
Word
can
up.
definitely hear.
But they don't have ears.
There's no ears on the duck. I don't understand why.
When you're hunting, you can call in ducks. They are able to hear.
That's a good point. I know what it is.
You don't think they sense the vibrations?
They use reverse echolocation. That's what it is.
Echolocation.
Not for ducks.
Echolocation only works with fucking ears, you dumbass.
No. They got
That's
sensors like dolphins. Do dolphins have ears? No. They'd have water in their ears constantly. Don't be ridiculous.
Imagine a fucking deaf person try to do echolocation.
Deaf people have ears. Doesn't work.
Dude, it just doesn't make any sense. Why
No,
would
deaf
why
people,
would
for
why
sure.
would a deaf person do echolocation if they can't fucking hear?
I don't think you understand the
They
concept.
just sense
And they
it.
can see. They can see. They don't need to do echolocation. They can just fucking view everything. That's crazy that you think that ducks have echolocation.
See, I think
God.
what you're missing here is you're assuming that ducks have ears. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use echolocation.
I'm not.
Reverse.
You can't have echolocation without ears, and you have to be blind to have echolocation.
I don't think you have to be.
Dolphins aren't blind. Whales aren't blind.
The only reason you would use echolocation is because you can't fucking see. Bats use it in caves because there's no light.
What
Next-
about Teslas, self-driving cars,
Great call. Yeah, I like that. They got eyes, people in them.
and no ears,
Yeah.
echolocation?
Bang. That's boom, A to B. I like it. Next week, we'll be ranking the eyesight of animals here on Marv on Air. Do not go anywhere. Obviously, stay tuned for that. Be sure to hit subscribe and like and all that good stuff. Leave us a review on our ratings of the animals with the best eyes next week. I'm going to round things off with our last hero for the week. This one's a little bit more sports-oriented than Ducks, but currently my hero is Joe Few, son of the Gonzaga basketball head coach. Poor guy.
That's your hero?
Yeah, I mean, because you know why?
Damn.
Because he stood on business. He went out there. He got put in the game with like 2 minutes to go. They're up 93-57. One possession. Ball's getting passed around a little bit. It's a little bit less stressful than at the beginning of the game. Steal. What would have been easy to have? What would have been an easy choice to make? He just chills out, lets Baylor go down and score the bucket. Whatever. They're up by 40 points almost. They don't need to get this stop. No. Boy goes down, hustles to the rim, shows his effort, gets up, puts a hand up, and unfortunately did get nuts dragged across his face. Okay, so that part we don't need to look at as intensely, but the boy showed heart, and I mean, that's why he's on the team. Probably related to
he showed why he's a walk-on and he doesn't have a scholarship is what he showed.
He's a glue guy. He's
He's
an effort
also
guy.
the coach's son, so
That has
Yeah.
nothing to
These
do
things may or may not be related to his correlation with the team. We don't know for sure. I just know this much. He gives the most effort out of anyone on that Gonzaga team. Based on that game alone, I think he's a dog.
If there's one thing I know about college basketball coaches is that they never believe in nepotism.
Right, and especially in the NBA too.
Never. It's never been
Yeah.
seen before.
Never been seen before, and it's certainly not related to the weather, right?
Bronny controls the weather.
I couldn't said it better myself. Hunter, any parting thoughts as you... you know what? Actually, no, I'm not going to ask the question. I would like Father McGillicuddy or whatever it is to bless the Marv on Air program.
Bless
Sure.
Marv on Air with a ton of views, and we will repay your debts in coming seasons.
Okay, fair enough. Red, do me the honors.
Deuces.